Hello, family. Welcome to Will and Share in the Face of Truth. I'm Will, this is Share, and we're here tonight because we are willing to share the truth to those who are our family here on this podcast. We are dedicated to bringing forth Black history as they are trying to kill woke, that they're trying to take Black history out of our schools and out of our country. We are here to bring it back.
Yes.
We are going to teach each week a history lesson on someone for all of America, but especially our Black community, and especially our Black children, our kids, and our Black young men and women. And so we are here tonight to talk about W.E.B.Du Bois.
Yes.
We are going to be discussing him, and then we also discuss current events that affect the Black community. We are soon going to be diving into this midterm elections to give you all the candidates around the country, and so that the Black men especially and Black voters can be well informed
Yes.
on when they go into the voting booth. So that's what our platform is about. We welcome you. We ask if you have any comments that you keep it clean, keep it respectful, and we will have no problem with you joining our platform. And we ask that you hit that like and subscribe button if you come across us here on YouTube. So we are going to delve into W.E.B.Du Bois and Sharr. We're going to turn it over to you, and we'll get started.
Thank you, Will. Welcome, everybody. As my husband already said, as Will already said, we are glad that you are here tonight to join us on our platform in the face of truth. Okay. We're going to start by sharing the information concerning W.E.B.Du Bois, a civil rights leader, and and a civil rights fighter. And so we're going to get right into it. W.E.B.Du Bois was born William Edward Burghardt Du Bois on February 23rd, 1868 in Great Barrington, just a few years after the end of the Civil War and slavery. His background is important as it shaped how he understood race, education, and power. His early life, Du Bois grew up in a relatively small, mostly white town in Massachusetts. Unlike many Black Americans born shortly after slavery, he did not grow up in the Deep South under direct plantation conditions. His mother was Mary Sylvina Burghardt Du Bois, came from a free Black family with deep roots in the area. His father, Alfred Du Bois, left the family when W.E.B. was young. Du Bois experienced racism growing up, but he also experienced something unusual for that era: support from white teachers and neighbors, access to education, and relative social mobility compared to many Black Americans of that time. This exposure helped shape his belief that education could transform lives. Okay? His education. Du Bois was extraordinarily gifted academically. He attended Fisk University and Harvard University and later studied in Berlin, Germany. At Fisk, located in the segregated South, Du Bois witnessed Jim Crow segregation, anti-Black violence, poverty, and voter suppression. That experience deeply changed him. He later said the South revealed the true depth of America's racial problem. In 1895, he became the first African American to earn a PhD from Harvard University. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to stop right there because I love what he brought out and what he said when he went to the South, okay? He experienced Jim Crow and segregation, of which we are back at in the South in this year of 2026. Okay. He also experienced anti-Black violence, poverty, and voter suppression. All these things of which we are facing here yet today, Will. And so it says that that experience that he went through, okay, with the Jim Crow, the Black violence, the poverty, the voter suppression, it says it deeply changed him. He later said the South revealed the true depth of America's racial problem, and we see that wide right now, as we see what's going on in the South with them trying to change locations and trying to move the margin, amen, and trying to make it where the Republicans can get more electorates or votes in come this midterm. So we're seeing a lot of the same things going on right now today. And so what are we going to do, Will? Are we going to allow this situation that's going on with the gerrymandering and the things that they're doing today, are we going to let this stop us from progression? Just like W.E.B.Dubois, this should spark something in all of us, okay?
And I think it was interesting when he said he got his first glimpse,
Yes,
if you will, of the lynchings, of the voter suppression, really the Jim Crow when he went
exactly.
down south and so, and it spurred something in him and gave him the motivation to do something about it. Like you're saying now, what are we going to do? The main thing we have to do, especially down in the southern parts of the states, and especially Black people, you've got to get out and vote
Yes.
this November, 100%.
Yes.
And there's got to be mobilization. I'm not just saying the Democrats, we all got to go in these states and motivate the Black people to
Yes.
get registered, help them to get the necessary documents they need, help them to get registered, help them to get to the voting booths. We need to have 100% participation in Texas, in Louisiana, in Mississippi, in Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, South
Virginia.
Carolina, the southern states,
Yes,
Virginia,
yes.
the Black people. Your population tells you, Alabama, I think, is 30% Black African Americans, but only 8% vote. We need you to come out and vote.
Come on,
We
people.
need to come out and vote. And in the
Yes,
North too.
we
The
gotta
Black
do
people
this.
need to come out and vote. And we need to vote Democrat. And once we get the Democrats in, then we've got to start another movement, making them being held accountable.
That's right.
Not just about the oligarchy and the working class. We need to make them accountable for Black people. Bernie Sanders, AOC, that's fine, but they're not saying nothing about
That's
the
right.
Black people. We need them to start paying attention to us. So we need to give them one more chance in these midterms.
Come on.
Vote for them and then make them be held accountable.
Yes, that's very
We
good,
want
Will.
to give a shout out to Kay La Cruz, 1095.
Okay.
Welcome to the platform.
Yes,
Go ahead,
and
Sharon.
just like Will said, it's not just the Black people. Of course, it's our people, the majority of our Black people that we need y'all to get out and vote, especially in these southern states and even here up north where we are. We need people to get out and vote. We need white people. We need the Latinos. We need to go out and vote in large herds and in large numbers come the midterms. We got to the only way we're going to turn this thing around is we got to do it. The people have to come together to turn this thing around, okay? Or we're going to lose America. We're going to lose our democracy. We're going to lose all of our rights, okay? Of which Black people are being affected mostly right now because of our civil rights being cut, because of our voting rights being staunched because of the gerrymandering. We need everybody to come on and get on board, okay? This should spark a change in you. Just like it did with W.E.B.Dubois when he went into the South and he experienced all those negative things that he experienced.
And let me say this, we know there's some things on the Democratic Party that we don't agree with. Here's my plan. vote Democratic overwhelmingly, get them in, and then once they're in, come up with a comprehensive meeting and an understanding about the abortion, about the LGBTQ as the Christian part of the Democratic, and present it to them.
Yes.
March, protest. If we don't agree, let them know we don't agree with that, and let them know. And most of the Democrats, they don't agree with it either. They don't
That's
believe
right.
with just
That's
killing.
right.
But that's just the platform. But then the Republicans' talking point is, well, you believe in killing the babies. I believe in the debate with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. When Trump said that, Biden said, we don't believe that. We don't, but they never come out and say, what do you actually believe? Warnock. Raphael Warnock says he don't
Yes,
believe in that.
yes.
As a pastor, the pastor said they don't believe. Well, what do you believe? What is the part?
Exactly.
Make it clear.
Exactly.
I've
We
made
need
it
to
clear
know.
my stance on abortion. Make it
Yes.
clear
Yes.
to let them
That's
know.
right.
And we're not going to get into that tonight, but as we go into the politics and that, we need to, because some people, including my wife, let's be honest, she's hesitant because she's not for abortion and LGBTQ, and it really,
right.
it gives her well, you explain it. You explain it. You don't want to vote against civil rights and stuff within that policy that they have of abortion. We have a problem. I have a problem with that, but we need to clarify that.
Right.
Because everybody that votes Democrat does not believe in abortion and LGBTQ,
That's right.
and everybody that votes Republican is not racist. But the problem is this: you don't let yourself be known. This Republican Party is racist. And so the Republican people should be out there demonstrating, saying, look, we don't stand for this. The Democratic Party should be saying that what they don't stand for. That's what we have to do,
Right.
in my opinion.
But one thing I'm going to say, Will, and that is this. In no party, whether it be Republican or Democrat, are we going to get 100% of the things that we want for any other parties. My thing is this. The Republican Party and Donald Trump ran on lies. He ran on lies to the American people, to the MAGA group that is following this cultic following with him. He lied, okay? Everything that came out of his mouth pretty much was a lie. Oh, when I get, I'm going to fix the economy. I'm going to bring prices down. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And he did the exact opposite of everything President Donald Trump said that he was going to do. How can you follow somebody who lies straight in your face?
And call yourself a Christian.
And call your, well, we'll go to that, and call yourself a Christian. But how can you follow somebody who all he does is lie, and then try to cover up the lies, okay? With everybody in that administration trying to cover up on his behalf. He has done more damage to the American people. He has done more damage to this nation and democracy since he's been in office. And it's really a shame. And then the fact that he is pushing this racist division, okay, across this nation, coming after black people, coming after the black vote, coming after civil rights. Who wants a leader, in office like that? So let's really think about this situation, because like I said, if the midterm, we don't fit those midterms and get Democrats in the House and the Senate, then we are going to lose America. Okay, we are going to lose out, and it's not just hitting African American people; it's hitting all people here in America. And so we need y'all to get out and vote. Get to the polls. Get the young people. Go to the colleges. Tell these young people to get out, of their comfort zone. Get off your couch and go and vote in the midterms. Vote blue. Vote blue. It's the only way to turn it around. We don't have any other parties. If we had another party that we could, reach out to and say, hey, they sound like they'll do the better job, besides the two that we have, then we would pick another party. But we don't have that. Okay, so thank you, Will, for making that plain. So let's read on. So in 1895, we see the W.E.B.Dubois. He was the first African American to earn his PhD from Harvard. His scholar and research. Du Bois believed knowledge should be used to fight injustice. One of his early groundbreaking studies was the Philadelphia Negro in 1899. In it, he carefully studied Black communities using interviews, statistics, and field research. This was revolutionary because many scholars ignored Black communities and racist stereotypes often replaced real research, and Du Bois helped pioneer modern sociology in America. Du Bois's life stretched from the Reconstruction era after slavery all the way to the dawn of the modern civil rights movement. Few figures witnessed and influenced as much of Black American history as he did. Okay? Du Bois was a groundbreaking thinker and activist who helped shape the modern civil rights movement. He did this in several major ways. One, he demanded full equality, not patience, at a time when many Black leaders were being told to accept segregation and move slowly. See, that's one of our problems. I'm going to stop right there. One of our problems, Democrats, is that they waited too long. They knew that Project 2025 was getting ready to come out and roll out. And the plan that the Republicans and Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and all those above him had to push out and roll out when he got in office, and the Democrats sat idly by, doing nothing. Okay? This is not the time to sit idly by. This is not the time to sit and say, okay, well, you know what? Maybe he'll change in a couple of months, because no, in a couple of months, it's going to get worse than what it is. We need to act now. Okay? Du Bois argued that Black Americans deserve full civil and political rights immediately. He openly challenged Booker T. Washington, who believed Black people should focus first on vocational training and economic progress, while temporarily accepting segregation. I heard just a couple of days ago, and I'm gonna stop there for a minute. I was watching a YouTube video, and I saw some of the Democratic leaders that were standing up saying what they were going to do as soon as they won back the midterms. And they were talking about, not talking about, trying to remove this person from office. They were talking about, well, they asked them, what were you going to do in the midterms when the Democrats get the House and the Congress back? And they said, well, we're going to go ahead and try to bring down prices and whatnot have you. And it didn't even seem to me like they even had a good plan for what they were planning on doing if they win the midterms. Democrats, get it together. We have no time for folly. We have no time for foolishness. We are losing America. We are losing our rights here in America as African American people, and y'all need to step it up, Democrats. Okay? So let me read on. So he openly challenged Booker T. Washington, who believed Black people should focus first on vocational training and economic progress, while temporarily accepting segregation. Du Bois believed voting rights mattered immediately, higher education mattered, protests and political action were necessary. Segregation had to be fought directly. That idea later became central to the civil rights movements of the 1950s and the 1960s. He helped create the NAACP. In 1909, Du Bois became a co-founder of the NAACP. Mm-hmm. He became one of the most powerful civil rights organizations in American history. It challenged segregation, laws in court, fought lynching, defended voting rights, organized protests, and public campaigns. The legal strategy later used in Brown versus Board of Education, the Montgomery bus boycott, desegregation battles. These all grew partly from foundations Du Bois helped build. He used research as a weapon against racism. Du Bois was one of the first scholars to scientifically study racism and Black life in America. Before him, listen to this, many racist ideas were treated as facts. Du Bois used data, sociology, and history to prove racism was created by society, not biology. Black poverty came from discrimination, not inferiority. Segregation harmed democracy itself. His research helped future activists argue their case with evidence and not just with emotion. A double consciousness. In his famous book, The Souls of Black Folk, Du Bois described the psychological struggle Black Americans face in a racist society. He called it double consciousness, being both Black and American, while constantly being forced to see yourself through the eyes of a society that devalues you. This idea deeply influenced Black intellectual thought, the Harlem Renaissance, Black power thinkers, modern conversations about identity and race. He connected Black struggles worldwide. Du Bois believed the fight for Black freedom was global and not just American. Listen to what he says here. Du Bois believed the fight for Black freedom was global, not just American. Black people are being persecuted all over this world, here in America and all over in other countries as well, okay? So this fight is not a Black fight. This is a global fight, okay? It's not just an American Black American fight. It's a global fight for Black freedom for Black people.
Because we've got to remember the transcontinental slave trade was all over the globe.
That's right.
Not just here in
Four
America,
corners
all
of the
over
earth.
the four corners of the earth.
Yes. He became a major leader in Pan-Africanism, anti-colonial movements in Africa, international human rights efforts, and helped to inspire independence movements across Africa and influenced later leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and Nelson Mandela. He inspired future civil rights leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., Ella Baker, Thurgood Marshall, and Malcolm X. Even when they disagreed with him politically, they inherited the world he helped create. Through organized protests, intellectual resistance, legal activism, and international Black solidarity. One of Du Bois's most famous lines still captures his message. The problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line, okay? The problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line. He meant that racial inequality would shape politics, economics, and democracy itself, not only in America, but around the world. W.E.B.Du Bois contributed far more than protests and speeches. His ideas fundamentally changed how America and much of the world understood race, democracy, education, and Black identity. Here are some of the most important ideological contributions of his regarding treatment of Black people. He rejected the idea that Black people were inferior. During his lifetime, many politicians and scientists and educators openly claimed Black people were naturally inferior. Du Bois directly attacked these beliefs using sociology, history, economics, and data. He argued that the conditions many Black Americans faced came from slavery, segregation, violence, and a lack of opportunity and systemic discrimination. This was revolutionary because he challenged scientific racism at a time when it was widely accepted in universities and government. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. Do you have anything to say about that?
It was the thing about the global issue. It was also his belief that the communism did more to help in the race issues. When he founded the NAACP, he did not take, from what I understand, he stopped the donations from the communists, which put a financial strain on them. But he was investigated because of that.
Yes.
But he didn't believe so much communism as far as being here in America. He just felt that in looking at the two, democracy, which the United States was under, in communism with the Russians, so he felt that the communism would help more in bringing this races together. So, but he was very pro global,
Yes.
especially in Africa. So, like you said,
Yes. And if you go to YouTube, you can see that there is another man. He's an older gentleman, and his platform is called Yahoo. Okay, and so he is one just like W.E.B.Dubois that fights for not just black Americans here in America and our freedoms and our civil liberties, but he also fights for African people in Africa and blacks all over the world. Okay, and he has been greatly persecuted for standing up for what he believes in, for standing up and speaking out. And that's another thing, Will. When we first came on, I asked that question. I said, why is it when black people stand up, okay, for truth and stand up and speak out against the racial epithets that are coming against us left and right? Why is it that we always, they want to come and shut us down? Everybody else, we have a freedom of speech in this country, and everybody else have a right to speak, what's on their mind. And when we speak what's on our minds, and when we tell the truth about the situations at hand, then we get persecuted, or we get accused, falsely accused, and we're not going to stop no matter what comes against us. We are going to continue to, in the face of truth, telling the truth. Okay. Okay. So Du Bois, he argued that racism was built into American systems. Du Bois believed racism was not just individual hatred, it was embedded into laws, schools, housing, policing, labor systems, and politics. That idea later became central to modern discussions about systemic racism, institutional dissemination, voter suppression, economic inequality, and mass incarceration. Long before these became common public conversations, Du Bois was analyzing how power structures kept Black Americans disadvantaged. Now he says something here, because racism is not something when we're born into this world, we're not born a white racist or a black racist, okay? Racist is something that is learned, it is taught, it's a system, okay? And it's a system that one group of people push up on another group of people because they feel that they are superior to all other races, okay? God didn't make one race, and I'll say it again, he did not make the white race superior over the black race. He did not make the white race superior over the Latino race. He did not make the white race superior over the Islamic race. God did not do that. God made each and every one of us, no matter what the color of our skin is, he made us all equal, okay?
in the image of God.
And in the image of God. Yes, Will. Thank you very much for that part. So Du Bois, he promoted Black pride and cultural value. Du Bois strongly believed Black history, culture, and intellect deserved respect. At a time when Black culture was mocked or erased, he celebrated African heritage, Black art, Black literature, Black music, and Black achievement. He helped inspire Harlem Renaissance by encouraging Black writers and artists to express themselves freely and proudly. He believed Black people should never measure their worth by white approval. Now, I'll say this as well too, Will. We know that this president was trying to do away with Juneteenth, okay? And that's a part of our cultural heritage as Black people. And we will not stay at home for Juneteenth. We will celebrate Juneteenth, okay? And there were some negative things said about Dr. Martin Luther King and trying to tear down his character and the things that he stood for and fought for in his country. And somebody even said, allegedly said that they should take down Dr. Martin Luther King Day, off the calendar. You can do whatever you want to do. You can destroy what you want to destroy and take away what you want to take away, but you cannot take away our culture out of our hearts. We will still find a way to celebrate. We will still find a way to stand up and honor those that have gone before us who fought this fight in the civil rights movement, and the slaves that were even before them that had to fight for their freedoms. Okay? So we will not give in. We will not capitulate. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The talented 10th. Du Bois believed educated Black leaders could help uplift the wider Black community. This idea became known as the talented 10th. He argued that Black Americans needed lawyers, teachers, doctors, scholars, journalists, and political leaders. And while some later criticized this idea as too focused on elites, it helped push for Black higher education. Historically, Black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, and professional opportunities. His emphasis on education deeply influenced generations of Black professionals and activists. Now, I do want to say, you want to say anything before I say anything?
Okay.
I was thinking about what he did here to help, okay, build up the momentum of Black people, okay, to go to school, to get their degrees in journalism, lawyers and teachers and doctors. And you see a lot of Black people in all of these different occupations now today because of what one man did. Okay, it don't take an army to get something accomplished. It don't take people that don't really want to put the work in. Okay, W.E.B.Dubois stood on what he believed in, and it caused change to come about because there was a time when Black people weren't even allowed to read. Okay, and because he pushed this ideology, look at all of our Black young men and women. Okay, the Defiant Lawyers. He's a lawyer. Okay, he's a pastor, Pastor Corbett, and he's also a lawyer, and he's also a civil rights. He stands up for civil rights and our liberties and our freedoms. Okay, and you can see him on YouTube under the Defiant Lawyers. All right, so I love what W.E.B.Dubois did in this. He helped shape Pan-Africanism. Du Bois believed people of African descent across the world shared connected struggles. He organized Pan-African congresses that brought together activists from Africa, the Caribbean, Europe, and the United States. He argued colonialism and racism were linked globally. Okay? So he argued that colonialism and racism were linked globally. These ideas later influenced African independence movements, anti-apartheid activism, and Black international solidarity movements. He believed economic justice was part of racial justice. Du Bois argued that racial equality could not exist without economic fairness. He criticized exploitative labor systems, extreme wealth inequality, and capitalism's treatment of poor workers. Over time, he became increasingly interested in socialism because he believed economic systems often reinforce oppression. This influenced later movements that connected civil rights, workers' rights, housing, healthcare, and economic opportunity. You can see echoes of this later in Martin Luther King Jr.'s Poor People's Campaign, labor organizing, and modern racial justice activism. He expanded the meaning of civil rights. Du Bois believed freedom was bigger than just ending slavery or segregation. For him, true equality meant dignity, political power, education, economic opportunity, cultural respect, legal protection, and the right to fully participate in democracy. That broader understanding helped shape the direction of the modern civil rights movement. Again, I'll read that part. It says that he expanded the meaning of civil rights. Du Bois believed freedom was bigger than just ending slavery or segregation. For him, true equality meant dignity, political power, education, economic opportunity, cultural respect, legal protection, and the right to fully participate in democracy. We have all of these rights, Black people, today. And we need to stand up, speak out, get to the polls, protest, peaceful protest. We have all these rights, okay? Our ancestors before us did not fight in vain, and neither will we. We will stand up for what belongs to us, okay? It says that the right to fully participate in democracy, that broader understanding helped shape the direction of the modern civil rights movement. Du Bois' ideology was powerful because he refused to accept the idea that Black Americans should wait quietly for justice. He believed racism had to be confronted intellectually, politically, economically, and culturally, all at once. The final impact of W.E.B. Du Bois was enormous because many ideas that were once considered radical in his lifetime later became central parts of American democracy and the modern civil rights movement. His influence can still be seen today in education, activism, politics, Black identity, and conversations about equality. Here's the lasting difference his belief made. He helped change how Americans understood racism. Before Du Bois, many Americans treated racism as either natural or unavoidable, or the fault of Black people themselves. Du Bois helped expose racism as a system created and maintained by society. Today, discussions about systemic racism, unequal schools, housing, discrimination, voter suppression, wealth gaps, and criminal justice disparities all reflect ideas Du Bois was analyzing over 100 years ago. What a legacy, a large legacy, this one man and impact he made. He helped shift the conversation from what is wrong with Black people to what systems are harming Black people. Mr. President, Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, and who else is in on this project 2025, your policies are harming Black people. Your policies are harming the marginalized. And God is going to hold you responsible for that. It says that was a major intellectual transformation. He helped build the foundation of the civil rights movement. Many victories of the 1950s and 1960s grew from organizations and strategies Du Bois helped to create. Du Bois died in Ghana, Africa on August 27, 1963. One day before the March on Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered the I Have a Dream speech. At that march, Roy Wilkins of the NAACP asked the crowd to honor Du Bois's memory because many recognized that the road to that historic moment had been shaped by his lifetime of work. And in many ways, Du Bois helped lay the intellectual and organizational foundation for modern struggle for civil rights and human dignity. Now, let me say this one thing, and I'm going to give it to Will, unless you want us to go ahead and do our quotes and our three things to remember.
I'll go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say this too. A lot of the mothers that are out there right now, you're a single mom and you're raising young boys, you're raising young girls. W.E.B. Du Bois did not have his father in his life. His mom was the example for him. And look at this man's life. He lived until he was 95 years old in Ghana, Africa. After he had accomplished all these things of going to different colleges and getting his degrees and standing up for civil rights and putting his ideologies to work for Black people here in America and all over the world. Don't feel bad that you're a single mom raising your children, because you don't know what that young boy or that young girl is going to be when they grow up. You don't know the legacy that they are going to leave behind, just like W.E.B.Du Bois left this large legacy behind of the work that he contributed to be able to fight against the system that was keeping us enslaved, that was keeping us in bondage. I love his story. So we're going to turn it to Will right now.
Yeah, it's also, as I've mentioned before, he believed that capitalism was responsible for the subjugation of colored people around the world. And although he recognized the faults of the Soviet Union,
Yes.
he continued to uphold communism as a possible solution to racial problems. He did not endorse communism for its own sake, but he did so because the enemies of his enemies were his friends. And of course, he went on to, with Marcus Garvey, he had the disagreement with Marcus Garvey because Marcus Garvey wanted as he did agree with him, that the Africans should come together.
Yes.
But Marcus Garvey wanted the African Americans to lead the Pan African, and Du Bois felt that it should be done by the Africans.
Mm-hmm.
So that was their disagreement on that. And you already, in World War One, he felt that he set up the school for officers,
Mm-hmm.
for black officers,
Yes.
but they did not, of course, they didn't come through for that. World War II, he was against the United States fighting because he felt that by doing that, it would increase the white power. Let me see if I can put
Yes.
that in there, get that in there and tell you what he really meant that. He said Du Bois opposed to U.S. intervention in World War II, particularly in the Pacific War, because he believed that China and Japan were emerging from the clutches of white imperialists. He felt the European allies waging war against Japan was an opportunity for whites to reestablish their influence in Asia. And he was also deeply disappointed by the U.S. government's plan for African Americans in the armed forces. And I want to go back to one of the things when he was born. He was born to, let's see, he was born in Great Barrington, Massachusetts.
Yes.
All right, and he grew up in a tolerant and a integrated community. His great grandfather was James Du Bois of Poughkeepsie, New York, an ethnic French American of Huguenot origin who fathered several children with enslaved women. One of James' mixed race sons was Alexander, who was born on Lone Cay in the Bahamas in 1803. In 1810, he immigrated to the United States. Okay, Alexander Du Bois traveled and worked in Haiti. So this is also, I believe, why he maybe had a concern and a passion for Pan-Americanism, because he had people all around the world, relatives. Right. Alexander returned, he fathered a son, Alfred, with a mistress. Alexander returned to Connecticut, leaving Alfred in Haiti with his mother. Sometime before 1860, Alfred Du Bois immigrated to the United States, settling in Massachusetts. He married Mary Servina Burgart on February 5th, 1867, a Houstonic and village in Great Barrington. And from that union was W.E.B. Du Bois, born in February 23rd, 1868.
That's good.
Okay, and that's all I have.
All right, so now we're going to get to our W.E.B. Du Bois's quotes. So I picked out 3 quotes that I liked. He had a whole lot of them. So here's the first quote. It says, quote, "Education must not simply teach work, it must teach life."
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then the second quote says, "Strive for that greatness of spirit that measures life not by its disappointments, but by its possibilities. Okay? And we can either focus on the disappointments, we can focus on the bad things that's happening, or we can focus on the fact that there are possibilities in every given thing that tries us. Okay? Don't focus on the negative, focus on the possibilities. All right? Because something good can come out of something bad. And so the third one I'm going to let Will read, if he would.
It says, there is in this world no such forces as the force of a person determined to rise. The human soul cannot be permanently chained.
I like that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so now we're going to do our 3 things to remember. The first is to remember this: stay true to your own ideology as long as it helps to produce constructive change. And this is something that I got out of W.E.B.Dubois, because he stuck true to his own ideologies, even though there were those that did not agree with him. And even though he didn't agree with others on some things, he still stuck to his own ideology because he knew that it would eventually produce constructive change. The second one says to research, to study, and to be astute. And that word astute means to be mentally sharp, clever, and highly perceptive. And we see W.E.B.Dubois, he was very astute. Okay, he studied, he researched. Okay, so that he could present his point of view to those that believe that black people were more or less, felt that they were being, hit with racism on every side. The world was trying to say it was coming because of us, but no, it wasn't coming because of us. It was racism as a system that was built, and so he had to prove his points. So make sure you do your study, make sure you research, be astute. Okay, that means to have mental clarity, to be sharp, clever, and highly perceptive. And Will's going to read the last one.
Learn to work across the board with others, although you might not see eye to eye.
Yes.
Okay.
Now we're going to turn to him for the last part of our program, and we are going to be talking about the Slush Fund.
Yes,
Okay.
the Slush Fund that was created, so we have to know where this originated from. If you remember in the 2020 debate between Trump and candidate Biden, then when he challenged Trump to tell the Proud Boys to stand down. And remember the words that Trump said. He said, Proud Boys, stand down and stand by.
Mm-hmm, he sure
so
did.
That was a clue that these were one of many of the groups that were working for Donald Trump. And of course, when January 6th came, the Proud Boys was one of the groups that was the insurrectionists. They killed police officers, they injured other police law enforcement.
Yes, my God.
They trashed the building, they threatened Vice President Pence, they threatened Congress. They were found, they were tried by a jury of their peers, and they were found guilty. Well, because of the stupid action of this country who we elected, Trump, first thing he did, although, yeah, we know that, first thing he did was pardon those 1,600 criminals. And the reports show that some of them have either been killed committing a crime, or they're back in jail for committing crimes.
Yes.
Some of them sexual assault. So now, in 2019, or 2023, somebody in the IRS apparently leaked Donald Trump's tax information, which was illegal, so he sued the United States government, the IRS, well, for $10 billion. Well, then, of course, we know that Pam Blondie got fired for her incompetence. And so Todd Blanche is now in charge as the Attorney General,
Yes.
who is was the personal lawyer of Donald Trump. And they did this corrupt deal where Donald Trump, who says he knows nothing about it, a liar, he knows everything about it, he would drop his suit for $10 billion that they would create a fund of $1,776,000,000, $1.776 billion, that would go mainly to the insurrectionists of January 6th.
Make that make sense.
And then the other part is that him and his family cannot be examined, audited by the IRS because basically they're cheating on their taxes probably, and they don't want nobody to find out. So they made a deal, allegedly they're cheating on their taxes, and they made a deal that they can never come and audit us again, or my family, or Donald Trump's family, or his business. So we have, first of all, lawmakers that have put a bill to say they don't want, this can't happen. And this is a good thing because now we're going to see who the Republicans are, that their
Yes.
true colors are, and
Yes.
put it on record, whether they're for or against this. And those that are against it, Democrats should use that against them, as well as other
That's
things.
right.
And we'll point out that as we go on in the midterms, to take taxpayer dollars and pay thugs, criminals,
Exactly.
sex offenders, to money. Proud Boys and the Proud Boy leader is going to get millions of dollars according to this fund because they stood by Donald Trump and did his dirty work. This is wrong.
Yes, it
So
is.
the Congress is putting a bill up to block that, and then the two police officers who were injured in that day, one black, one white, they are countersuing the Trump
Yes.
to keep this from happening. So we're going to keep an eye on that. See what happens. Of course, it's all in God's hand. He will make it right, and vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So we know that God is going
Yes.
to make it right, and whatever
That's right.
He allows, He has a purpose for it. But I believe the Lord is going to do right. And go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, it's a side note. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Anyway, I just want to add one thing, and I'm going to share this because, first of all, we are, like I said before, we're saved people. We love the Lord. We love everybody, even our enemies, okay? Because Jesus commanded us to do so. But anyway, I would like to say this, and that is that the Lord shared something with me in prayer just the other day, and I'm going to put this out there to this party. I'm going to put this out there. When God delivered the Israelite children from the hands of Pharaoh and the Egyptians who tried to keep them in bondage, and God sent Moses to tell Pharaoh to let my people go, that they may come out into the wilderness and worship me. Okay. Now Moses, and I'm gonna be quick, went back oftentimes to tell Pharaoh what God said, that God said to let my people go, because God heard their cries, okay, while they were in bondage. And so when he finally made up his mind, Pharaoh, to let the children of Israel go, of which he didn't make up his mind, because he had his army follow after them. Once he said, okay, let them go, I'll let them go. But I'm going to say this to you. When Pharaoh let them go, God had already told Moses to go in and take the spoil of Egypt. Ha! And so when King Pharaoh let them go, the Israelites went in and took the spoils of Egypt. God told me to tell you, those of you that are in office, those of you that are fighting against blacks and the marginalized here in America, of which God hates, because God is for the poor and he is for the needy. Okay? God is for his people. Just like God forced his hand. Listen to me. King Pharaoh's hand was forced to let God's people go. And when he let them go, God let his people go in there and take everything that the Egyptians had, the gold, the silver. You can read it over in the book of Exodus. And I say to our leaders today, either you do right by black people here in America, Trump, you want to give money to people that have broken the law. God is saying to you tonight, don't make him force your hand and pay black people the reparations that you owe the descendants of slaves in this country.
Mm-hmm.
God's judgment will come upon you, and he will force your hand to give it, to do what's right on behalf of black Americans. Back to Will.
And just a side note, to let you know the update, in South Carolina, they did push forward through the committee to try to get the redistricting done that would take Jim Clybourne's seat. That's not good.
Oh, that's not good.
No, that's not good.
Okay.
So they going to try to take his seat. So they move forward with that. It's going to the full Senate now. And if they pass that in the Senate, then the redistricting will take place and probably Jim Clybourne's seat will be taken
So he'll
away.
lose his seat.
So continue to pray that God's will be done. So that's our show tonight.
Take my clap back.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Will.
We don't forget Sunday morning at 11:30, 11:45 on Facebook. True Apostolic Holiness Church Sunday morning worship service.
Yes.
Next Tuesday at 7 o'clock on Fire for Jesus. A Bible study, Psalms 8 and 9. And then next Thursday we'll be back here, Lord willing, at 6:30 for In the Face of Truth.
Amen.
I'm Will. This is Sharr. This has been In the Face of Truth. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And until next time, God bless.
Thanks for coming, everybody.